Hi, welcome back to another video from Java for Beginners course from Course Labs. In this video, we are going to talk about interfaces in Java. Interface is as similar as a class, but its fields are by default public, static, and final. And similarly, if you have any method inside your interface, by default it is public and abstract. So to better understand the concept of interfaces, let's try to understand some of the problems we have seen with some other Java concepts we have already discussed. So the first one, let's talk about multiple inheritance in Java. If you remember, in one of our previous videos, we have discussed this multiple inheritance and we mentioned that multiple inheritance is not supported by Java. Let's revisit the program once. So we have a class here. Let's say this is Samsung, or let me just take some normal examples rather than taking this mobile example once again. So let's say I have class A and I have another class B. Now inside class A I have void display method, and I'm going to write the definition here. So the definition is going to print something, system.out.println, and it says, hi, this is class A. Now I'm going to write the exact same definition but with some different body within the method. So let's say I'm class B. Well, we have two classes now. One is class A, another one is class B. Now I'm going to write another class with the name C, and I'm just going to extend both A and B. Now let me write the main method for this, public static void main, and let me just add the argument for this. And since I have class C here, let me just create an object for this. Object equals to new C. Now if you notice, to call this particular display method, we need to use this particular object. Of course, Java doesn't support this multiple inheritance, but if you look at this situation, where does Java look for this display method? Because we are extending both the classes A and B, and both the classes are having the same method display with no different arguments. Right, so how does your Java know that this is the method that you're looking for? This is one problem that we have seen with Java multiple inheritance, and this is the reason why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. To avoid ambiguity, we can go for interfaces. So let's see how we can avoid this problem with interfaces. So I'll just name this as interface, and I'll just call this interface as well. Now we have two different interfaces, and if you remember, I mentioned that in interfaces all the methods are by default public and abstract. So when you say abstract, the methods are not supposed to have any definition or implementation here. So which means the display method is supposed to be like this. Now another one here. Now if you remember another concept that we have discussed in the previous video, which is abstract classes. Abstract classes can have both abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods. Thus we are achieving partial abstraction. Now in case of interfaces, we cannot have non-abstract methods within an interface, which means all you can have is a abstract method, which means we are achieving full abstraction using interfaces. So these are the two main reasons why we go for interfaces. Right, so let's now go ahead and make it an abstract class once again. So you don't need to have the keyword abstract. By default it is abstract. Now I'm just removing this once again. Now assume that I have another class here, which is class C, and I want to implement both of these two interfaces. Now if you remember, we were using the keyword extends to extend any class. In case if you want to acquire the properties of these two interfaces, rather than using the keyword extends, we use implements. So So when you're dealing with interfaces, we usually use this particular keyword implements. So we're gonna implement A and B interfaces. Perfect. Now, if you look at this, seems like there is an error. It's not an error. It is asking us to add the unimplemented abstract methods. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if you notice, I can now add system.out.println. Now, there is no ambiguity which we have seen with multiple inheritance in the previous case, because if you notice, I am writing the display implementation here in my class, and whenever I call, this particular implementation will be called. So there is no ambiguity when you're calling this display method, right? So this is how we can fix the problem that we have seen with multiple inheritance. Now I'm just printing something here. I'm from display method. Now, as usual, let's write a main method, public static void main string argument, and let's create an object for this class. C object equals to new C, and let's call this method display from this. Well, seems everything is fine. Now let's try to run this program and let's see the output. So I'm just running this, and if you notice, this time there is no ambiguity, and we are now able to call this method display, and it is happily printing this I'm from display method text. So this is how we can use interfaces in Java. Once again, we are going to use interfaces extensively in Android application development. This is one of the most commonly used concepts in Android application development as well. I hope the concept of Java interfaces is clear with this video. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to contact us. I hope you have enjoyed it. See you in the next video.